Saturday night.
Time for your weekly dose of pop culture
with Kathy and Kenny. Welcome to the show.
Good Saturday night to everyone, one and all. How are you this evening, Kenny? It is Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture. It is Saturday night, so we are ready to do just that. Kicking it off with some pop culture news. So talk to us.
Okay, well, in pop culture news, one of the things we have is a very sad opening to that is that Jimmy Buffett passed away today at the age of 76.
Jimmy Buffett.
Jimmy Buffett.
And so it is a sad day for parrot heads everywhere.
Yes.
Because that's what his fans, I believe,
call themselves, yes, the parrot heads.
Themselves as parrot heads. So how old was he again?
He was 76.
Wow, 76.
And some of the people I know are just not right up here. Because my comic book guy Bill, he said, well, that's what happens when you drink a lot of margaritas. It was 5 o'clock everywhere.
So surely,
Bill, you're just not right.
That is not right. But again, to all the parrot heads out there who will no longer be wasting away in Margaritaville, Jimmy Buffett, known not just for that song, but just for, again, the concerts, the beach vibes, and, how kind of sad or fitting that it's right at the end of summer, where Memorial Day is like Labor Day is usually the official end of summer. And again, when you think of Jimmy Buffett, it is kind of, to me, at least in my mind, it was always kind of like summertime music, summertime, that kind of, that vibe.
We will always have that table of salt. We'll always have, that whole song, that Margaritaville, that will always be the vibe. You will always think, that song makes this man pretty much immortal.
Mm-hmm. So that is.
And next we have on our pop culture news. Next we have with our pop culture news. I got more pop culture news. I'm very excited about this one. Very excited about this one. Coming back to the rom-com scene, Meg Ryan, who hasn't made movies in years.
Oh, wow.
Is coming back with a movie, I believe, written by her, directed by her. It's called...
She's directing it?
Yes, she's directing it. She's been out of the game for years. And she is the rom-com, like if you're in a rom-com movie if I'm an actor in a rom-com movie, I want Meg Ryan to be my love interest, because she is the epitome of
Queen of the
rom-com,
rom-com? Okay.
queen of the rom-coms. Look at her.
She was when she looked like that, but now, I don't know, some of the pictures I've seen of
Wow.
her, I'm just saying,
Wow. Is
and
that what
it's
we're
not
doing?
well, to me, I don't know, it just looks like she's had a lot of work done, and the work doesn't look like it was done too well. I'm just saying.
The movie is called What Happens Later.
I'm just
It
saying.
co-stars David Duchovny.
Oh, I
It's
like the
released.
discovery. Oh,
Yes.
that
It's
excites me.
okay. Well, Meg Ryan excites me. Okay, she's one of those women who age very well, like Michelle Pfeiffer. I don't care what
Okay.
age she is, she's got me.
I'm
The movie's
sorry.
going to be
We're
released on
borderlining
November
on
the
the
3rd.
Joker look here.
What? No, you know what? That is not. No, you know what? You're wrong. You're
Alright.
wrong. Mute
Okay.
yourself.
Bad
Mute yourself.
Kathy.
You just
I
skipped the
I
buzzer.
you
That's
know
just
what?
wrong.
I I
Not
will
you.
yeah, I will slap my hand,
Bad
and
podcast.
I
It's
lost my
bad
buzzer.
podcast.
Alright, I'm outta here. I'll let you finish.
No. Okay, so the movie is What Happens Later. It's going to be released on November 3rd. Now, originally, it was supposed to be released on October 13th. But because that Taylor Swift non-talent woman is releasing a movie, now they're going to delay, and release their movie on November the 3rd. Personally, I would go see the Meg Ryan movie and not a Taylor Swift concert movie. Oh, who wants to see that? Nobody. Nobody. But it is what it is. So they're delaying it because of Taylor Swift movie release. And that's pretty much what's going on. So Meg Ryan is back. And we would hope that she's back for good. And, now that she is back, everyone is hoping to see a Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks movie, of
Yes.
course, because they how many movies did they do together?
They did Sleepless in Seattle, You Got Mail. They did another one together, didn't they?
Joe versus the volcano.
Joe versus the Volcano, yes.
I think everybody
I've never
knows
seen that one.
You Got Mail and Sleepless in Seattle,
I
but
love You Got
first
Mail.
was Joe versus the volcano. So that
I
was
love You Got Mail.
how it started, and it would really be lovely to see a comeback and the two of them paired up. I think that would
You
be a
know,
lot of fun.
you know what the funniest part of You Got Mail for me was?
What's that?
The scene with Dave Chappelle.
Okay, well,
Where
Dave Chappelle
he,
always
yeah,
delivers.
it's a scene in that movie where Dave Chappelle is just like the manager of the store that Tom Hanks owns. They're walking down the street because Tom Hanks is going to meet her for the first time, and You Got Mail. And he sends Dave Chappelle up there to check her out first.
I remember.
And they didn't know each other, and they had they knew each other as bookstore owners, and they didn't like each other, and they kept attacking each other. And Dave Chappelle goes, "Remember that Kathleen Kelly lady?" He goes, "Yeah, Kathleen Kelly. Yes, yes, yes. She's nice looking. Okay, kind of looks like her. Okay, we're not talking about her. Well, if you don't like Kathleen Kelly,
You ain't
not
gonna like
gonna like this woman." And then he looks up, he sees it's her, and then Dave Chappelle is looking and standing there next to him like, "So what you gonna do?" That to me is the funniest part of the whole movie. There's certain parts of movies where I have to skip to, and they're the funniest part. That to me is the funniest part of the whole movie. That is hilarious. So yeah. But Meg Ryan is back. Is she
Meg
still married
Ryan.
to John Mellencamp?
She wasn't married to John Mellencamp.
She was in a relationship with him.
She was? Meg
Yeah.
Ryan?
Come on, you're supposed to be pop
She
culture,
was
baby.
married. I know, but she was married to another guy, and she cheated
She
on him
was
with,
in a
like,
relationship with John Mellencamp.
get
I
out
think
of
she still
here.
is. I'm what? I know
I
my
don't think
pop
that's
culture.
right.
That is correct. That's absolutely correct.
I don't think that's right. I think you're making up pop culture as you go along.
No, I'm not making that. That is absolutely correct.
All right, if you say so. I'd have to Google that. I don't know.
Yes, no, it's.
All right. I mean, hey, look it up.
I'll look it up later because I don't want to. I don't want to distract myself now, and
Okay.
we are going to go right on to our topic. And our topic today is one season movies, one season
Ah,
wonders, the Oneaters
Oneaters.
of the television
Speaking
genre.
of, speaking of Tom Hanks,
Speaking of
the
Tom Hanks,
Oneaters.
the Oneaters. I love Tom Hanks in that movie. He wasn't the main
Oh,
star,
and
but I
that
love
was,
Tom Hanks in that movie.
I don't know if that was his directorial debut, but I know he directed that movie. I don't know if that was the
Yes,
first movie he ever directed. But and again, we're referring to That Thing You Do. Uh, you guys look amazing in blue suits. Have I told you that?
have I told you that? You guys look great in yellow. Have I told you that? You look great in gold. Have I told you that? Smile, 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 smile. But then you leave the stage. Keep smiling, but you leave. What they want one more song? No, you don't. You unplug and you run off the stage. Still smiling, but you run
Did
off the
you leave
stage.
off the stage?
Okay. So the
So,
Oneaters of TV season.
and I guess the thing about it is, and some of the shows we're going to talk about, I think, are surprisingly popular because they were syndicated despite only being one season. Now, here's
Yes.
why one season is kind of bad. One season is bad because usually you need at least 3 seasons, or I think is the magic number 50 episodes for syndication. A lot of
Yes.
times when TVs are in their pilot or when they're doing pilot, as they call it, pilot season, a lot of contracts that they sign with these performers, especially if they're new, unheard of, unknown performers, are for like 7 years. So they lock them in. But I think they want to make it to at least 3 seasons so that they could be syndicated and you see them over and over and over again. And I guess that's a phenomenon of like the last 20, maybe 30 years. But some of these shows on our list, I think, with all the streaming, with all the cable channels, wound up getting picked up. And even though they only ran for 1 season, you got to see them like ad nauseum. So, yeah, so we're talking about one season wonders. So the first one on the list, I was not familiar with. So you're going to have to educate me because
Naomi.
uh,
Naomi is one of the CW vehicles. When
okay.
CW was doing a lot of superhero shows, they had the whole Arrow universe. So they were adding to it, and they were doing other superhero shows that were DC properties, Warner Brother DC properties,
Hmm.
but not putting it in the Arrow universe. Naomi was not quite in the Arrow universe. It seems like the CW didn't know what to do with these properties that they wanted to make superhero shows from. Naomi was a good show. It only lasted
So
one season.
was it from a comic book?
Yes, Naomi is in a comic book.
Okay.
Right there, we see her.
So
She never
she's like
gets.
some like skateboarding badass or something.
No, she wasn't really a skateboarding badass, but
Well,
she
she's
was
got the
very
skateboard
powerful.
in her hand.
I know, but that's just for they're making it look modern. Like they don't even have her in a costume in this TV show, and they call her Naomi, and she is very powerful
Hmm.
from another galaxy or planet. In comic books, she ends up joining the Justice League,
Okay.
and she's fighting next to Batman and Superman and everyone else. She's very powerful in the comic books also. This show had a lot going for it. One
Yeah.
reason the CW stopped doing this show, as well as canceling a lot of other superhero shows, the CW is going into live television, unscripted TV. So they're going to be doing a lot of shows, a lot of reality TV shows on
Ugh,
CW. Yeah, like who
that's a
needs that?
bummer.
No, nobody needs that. Everybody's doing it. I see the appeal to it because, especially with the strike on, you can still do unscripted shows. You can still do those reality shows.
So they're
I
trying to
don't want
make
that.
their network strike proof by
Yes.
doing reality shows. But I have a feeling some of those reality shows are scripted anyway, because a lot of what goes on
Yes.
doesn't seem to happen organically. Like there's some
Mm-mm.
scripting or manipulation or something that those
Yeah.
producers are
There
doing.
has to be.
You
There has
know,
to be because you know what?
they're
Nobody's
messing.
life. Yeah. Nobody's life is that exciting all the time, every week. No, it's not happening.
It's not the
I'm an
way.
exciting guy, and I have a boring life sometimes. People think I'm exciting.
So,
People think I'm always on the go, but
so
I have a boring life.
I don't know how many weeks we are into this strike, but I guess it's going to start hitting home soon because usually it's September. And even though Labor Day and for some parts of the country, it means going back to school, although down here in the South, we've been back almost a month now. I know. It's like going back to school.
Woo!
Lazy. We done been back, people. But in any case, for some parts of the country, yeah, it's kind of like fall season. And if you go to the stores, forget it. Because I saw Christmas stuff
Wow.
this weekend when I was shopping.
It's
But
not even. Look,
the
It's not even
Halloween
Columbus Day.
vibes are strong. But fall doesn't really start till like, the 23rd night of September. Do
So
you remember?
they skipped Halloween and Thanksgiving and went right to Christmas.
Christmas. I saw
Nah, you making that up.
I kid you
I
not.
want you to go to the store tomorrow
There's
and take
Chris
a picture of Christmas stuff and put it on the Facebook page. That's what I want to
I
see. I don't
okay.
believe it. I
Well,
want to date that picture.
I can't do it tomorrow because we're having a few folks over, so I won't have time to get to the store. But if I can get to the store Monday on Labor Day, I will send you, or I will Facebook, and you can check out the Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture Facebook page, and
I'm
you will
not believing
see.
it. I'm
You
not
will
believing it.
see. It is
It is
Christmas
September.
time
There's
in the
got Christmas
city.
stuff out already.
And the bad part is I saw it in August. So take that
Woo!
for those of you who want to sell and do. As speaking of Christmas presents, if you need a good idea for presents, check some of our links in the description if you want to get some Kathy and Kenny merchandise. If you are a regular listener to the show and a culture kid and fan, let us know. So DM either myself or Kenny with your t-shirt size and your address, and we will be more than happy to get one out to you. For our folks, I still need Scooby Life's info, and I got to get one also over to Hey Archer from Nerd Affiliated.
Yes.
So
Oh,
many
yeah.
folks who support the show. All right. And before we go on too far into the show, just a note of personal kind of just news and celebration. Just want to shout out and say with the cheers and oh wait, I probably should say it first, then do the cheers.
Yeah.
Happy 60th anniversary to our
Wow.
parents, as well as tomorrow will be 80th birthday for our mom. So there's the cheers.
There you go. They have been. Our parents have been married for 60 damn years.
And that's weird because I'm like 62. So no.
No, that's not. You're not 62.
Wrong sound effect.
I was on FaceTime with our parents 2 days ago, and they were going back and forth arguing while I'm on FaceTime with them, and they sound like a couple, an old 60-year married couple going back and forth, and I'm like, oh my god, really? Is that what it
They're
is?
they're they're in the
Really?
future lives. There you go.
So we're gonna go on with our list. And speaking of
Okay.
married couples, next one on our list is the nice segue. The next one on our list is the honeymooners. The
The
honeymooners
honeymoon.
only actually had one season, and it
And that I was
continued
surprised.
on the Jackie Gleason show.
I was
I
surprised.
think they did continue some of that on the Jackie Gleason show, but the honeymooners
Okay.
were technically one season
Oh, wow. Because
in
I think that
1955.
well, did it actually you said it continued on Jackie Gleason's show. I thought didn't it start as like a skit, almost like, uh, The Simpsons kinda really started on the Tracy Ullman show. A lot of
Almost
people
show,
don't
yes.
realize
Yeah,
that it was like
yeah,
little
a lot of people
skits,
don't know that. I remember
you
that.
know,
I remember that.
but I do remember that. 'Cause they don't know about us. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
let that go. Nobody knows that Tracy Ullman reference, but um,
People know that
and
reference.
I've never seen a whole episode of the Honeymooners. And when I think about the Honeymooners, all I think about is that Eddie Murphy joke. Hey Ralph, I've been watching you, and I know that you know that I know that you know.
So you
Okay,
need to go
so
to the source material because all you know is the material from Eddie Murphy. You need to check out your source material.
when I've been okay, so next we have Police Squad in 1982. Now this was
Ah,
from the Naked Gun series kind of thing, and this is like a spinoff of that. Police Squad with Leslie Nielsen, who was hilarious at the deadpan. This man, you've seen this in Airplane. This man could deliver a straight line that is so, you know,
he had the deadpan down.
he had the deadpan down to a science. And
Mhm.
don't call me Shirley. And don't call me Shirley. I'm just, you.
Surely
So
you must be joking.
yeah, and no, I'm not. And don't
I
call me
don't joke,
Shirley.
and don't call me
Don't call me
Shirley.
Shirley. So on our list next is a show that was canceled on only after one season,
Mhm.
but the character, strangely enough, happened to be picked up on another network in another show.
Okay. I don't
So
I don't remember this one at all.
this is Constantine. Constantine, the actor in Constantine, was, and I'm sorry, I forget his name. The actor in Constantine was Matt Ryan.
Okay.
And he played this character so great because unlike the movie Constantine with Keanu Reeves,
Mhm.
Matt Ryan looked like Constantine and played this part to
You
a
mean
T.
he looked like the cartoon drawing of Constantine?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Because
Where
before you
Keanu
start
Reeves did not look like the cartoon drawing of Constantine,
okay,
and it was
because
kind of hard for
we
me to
do not
watch that
do
movie.
any Keanu bashing on this channel, just
I'm not
FYI.
bashing Keanu Reeves. I'm not bashing him. I'm just saying Matt Ryan looked more the part of Constantine.
Okay. Now this is
That's
another
all.
one of the CW deals?
Yeah, well, no, this show originated on another network. This
Mhm.
show was first on, I believe, NBC,
Oh, okay.
and it got canceled from NBC. But because it was a DC property,
Mhm.
CW had all those Arrowverse shows, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow. They had all those shows that they put Constantine in those. So they asked Matt Ryan to come to the CW and play those characters because really he did such a great job in the show that was canceled. The
Mhm.
fans loved him.
Oh,
And
wow.
they begged for CW to bring him to that universe, and they did.
Oh, okay. So,
So
well, wait a minute. Does that mean it was more than one season though? Because it sounds
no,
like he had a season on NBC. So,
no.
okay.
He got when he was on the CW network, he
Mhm.
was implemented in other shows.
Okay.
So he was on The Flash. He was on Arrow. He became a member of the team of Legends of Tomorrow.
Okay.
So
And
he didn't really get another season, but the character got a life on another network.
oh, okay. I get you. I smell what you're stepping in. I just kind of think, I don't know. I guess I miss the whole CW action hero thing. I never got into it, but I'm always slow to the party. So who knows? Maybe through, I don't know where all the CW shows stream, but
Well, a
maybe.
lot of them can be streamed. A lot of those shows can be streamed on Max.
Oh, okay.
A lot of those shows can be streamed on Max. Some of them can be streamed on Netflix.
So does that mean their majority of them are DC properties or?
Yes, all the
Oh,
CW superhero shows were DC properties,
oh,
and they can
okay.
all be seen on Max. Some of them can be seen on Netflix.
So where did the
Black
Marvel
Lightning can be seen on Netflix.
What what network did the Marvel characters live on, like Agents of Shield and
They were on ABC. And
ABC? Okay,
ABC, which is owned by same people who own Disney
Disney. Who?
and Marvel. So they showed up
Gotcha.
on AB. They showed up on ABC, but the characters, the Agents of Shield, is not in continuity of the MCU anymore. It started off that way, but now it's not for some reason because see what they did. But people are clamoring for them to include Agents of Shield back into the MCU mainstream. Steve, how you doing?
Hey, Steve is
Hey,
in the
Steve.
house. Steve in the house, and welcome. But yeah,
Yaya's Apothecary Pantry.
okay. Hey, tonight we are talking about one season wonders. Those shows, the Oneaters. That I
Yes.
don't know why I can't get that out of my head now.
I know
The
you can't. I'm going to
the
have to watch that movie when we
one
get off.
season wonders, those, TV shows that only lasted for 1 season. I know we have a short list because we wanted to spend a little time talking about each of the ones on our list, but if there is one that we are sure to miss, uh, please let us know in the comments. And Yaya's, hello and welcome to the stream. Thanks
Welcome,
for
welcome.
hanging out with us on a Saturday night, as we
Listen,
do,
yes.
and that's what we do.
So the next one now, I don't mean to
Let me
talk about
guess.
superhero shows.
Let me guess. It's a CW show.
It's another superhero show.
Okay.
This was before the CW was a CW. It was
The WB?
the WB.
Ah, okay.
That is not the show that we're talking about, though.
Oh, that's not. Oh,
That's
sorry.
not the Birds of Prey we're talking about. This was the
Oh,
Birds of Prey in 2002.
oh, okay. I had the
This is
wrong
the Birds
image.
of
I
Prey in
apologize.
2002 that came on TV. It was a TV show, and it was one season. It was a hit, and a lot of people liked it. And this was a future Gotham where Batman wasn't around, and you had
So this is yet another Batman universe.
yes, it's a Batman universe. Black Canary, Barbara Gordon, who is now Oracle and crippled because the Joker shot her.
Okay. So this Birds of Prey.
Yes,
Okay.
and
Oops,
Helen
sorry.
Bertinelli, which was Batman and Catwoman's daughter, Huntress,
Okay.
all were together, and they were a fighting force.
Oh, okay.
They fight crime because Batman wasn't around anymore,
Gotcha.
and
See,
that was the whole premise of that.
Birds of Prey. So you were, I guess, knee deep in the CW. It seems like, was this a show that you caught? Did you watch actually this one season wonder?
Yes, I caught this one season.
Hmm. So
I
was it
thought
worth the second season?
it was worth the second season. Yes, it was.
Mm.
It was definitely worth the second season because you kind of wanted to see what happened to everyone else. Now the woman who played Black Canary in this show. In this show, Black Canary wasn't the Black Canary that we all know in comic book land. That she's older and she's a kung fu master. In this show, Black Canary was a young child, a
Okay.
teenager. That actress who played her was Rachel Scarston.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel Scarston later, when she grew to adulthood, was the villain on the Batwoman show.
Another CW show. Let me
Another
guess.
CW show, yes. So
Okay, I'm
usually
got
she's
it.
the villain, so it kind of all works together, it kind of all fits and whatnot.
The
You know,
magic of the CW.
I'm,
I
I'm
got
look, I'm putting it together for you. I'm putting it together for you.
it. Yeah, because I'm like the layman because I don't I'm CW illiterate, and again, my comic book knowledge is not the best. So I'm just wondering, and I probably should ask you this, and maybe we can do a show on this. If you give me like for someone who is not into comic books, what would be like the 2 or 3 best books to read or series to get into as an
That's a
introduction?
whole. That's a whole can of worms. It all depends on what you like,
Uh-huh.
what kind of superhero you like, what kind of action you like. You might not even like superheroes. You might not even want to read a Marvel or DC book. You might want to read an independent book or another book that is published that has nothing to do with superheroes. George is one of those people who reads things. I had to read tights and capes. I had to
Okay.
have the superheroes.
Tights and capes, or else it's not a
George
comic.
is somebody who gets on my case, my son George, because he reads other stuff besides that.
Hmm.
And there's so much in the
World.
world of the comic book genre to read.
Hmm.
And depending on what you like, it's hard for me to say, go read a Superman book, go read a Batman book, go read a Wolverine book or an X-Men book or an Avengers book. It's hard for me to tell you that because I would have to know what you're into and what you like. If you like mystery, you like magic, you like just a superhero, strong superhero, you like
I get you. I
depending on what you like.
actually, you know what I like? I like characters. So, like, I would want if there was a series I can get into, because there is a comic book place not too far from my job that I probably could get into a series, or I would want to be turned on to a comic book that the feature doesn't necessarily have to be action, but has to be characters that I
You
can
know who would be
I
better than me than giving you direction in that area would be George.
okay. All
Because
right.
he
I know
reads
where I gotta
I
go.
read Marvel and DC, he reads everything. We're gonna go next to
Oh, we did get one hit on the comments, and Steve is saying, my brother Pete said the Ropers, however, that might have went more than one season.
does the Ropers really go more than one season?
I think the Ropers may have went more than one season. I'll look
Why?
it
Why? Why?
up. Why?
Why? Like why would that? I'm surprised that you know what they probably did go more
Well,
than one
I
season.
liked
But I'm
Helen.
pretty
That was
sure
fun.
they would have been on a list. They would have been on somebody's list.
You know what? The Ropers had 2 seasons according to the Internet Movie Database.
Okay,
There were
there
2
you go.
seasons of The
There were
Roper.
2 seasons of The Roper. There should have
Come
been
on.
only one, but there was two. Next
2
one on
seasons
this is a,
of
is
The
a
Roper.
show that a lot of people rave about, and a lot of nerds like me rave about, and I've never seen this show at all. We're going to talk about Firefly.
Firefly. I can't believe you've never seen
I've
Firefly.
never
Well,
seen
a
Firefly.
and I
Oh,
have to
man, you know what? I say I've never seen Firefly, and Nerd Affiliate comes on just as I say I've never seen Firefly. You know what? I know he's gonna. I know he's gonna have something to say. I know he's gonna have something to say. I've
now
never
see,
seen Firefly. Okay,
I Not only have I seen Firefly, I've also seen the movie because again, it only had one season, but it had such a devout fan base. And probably one of the reasons I watched it is because you know me, I'm a total Buffy fan and Angel fan. So I was into Josh Whedon, and I know he's gotten some flack for being canceled or whatever. But and again, I you know what? Cancel culture. You know why I hate cancel culture? I
Well,
hate cancel culture because people burn Milli Vanilli records. Let me explain. See, Milli Vanilli, yes, they were lip syncing, but why burn the records? Because they had seasoned session musicians playing and singing that music. So it was good music. If anything, the problem isn't with the album that you have to burn it, it's with you because you brought the image instead of buying the music. So anyway, but
you know
I
what?
digress on cancel culture.
You
But
digress,
we were
but you know what? And all things being said, blame it on the rain. You know it's true.
blame
You
it
know it's
on
true.
the rain.
Blame it on the rain.
Ooh, ooh. Okay, I'm going off.
So yeah, we're going on topic here.
So
Uh,
okay, so hey Archie, he wasn't a big fan, but
yeah,
I
so I'm good. I'm good.
like. And again, this is what I was talking about with the comic books. I want characters I can identify and relate to. Not that I can identify with these guys, these kind of thieves roving through space, but it also has some actors I really liked. Because
Yes.
isn't it nice to see Ron Glass? I was just excited to see him in that,
Yeah.
as well as Adam Baldwin, who most people remember from My Bodyguard back
Yes.
in the day.
Yes.
Also, oh, the woman from Suits, I can't her name is escaping me right now, and I can't think of her name, but, like, there was just, a good cast, Nathan Fillion, and, uh, again, with just like with Buffy, like, you had each character had their own kinda, like, personalities and quirks and things that you got used to and that you really enjoyed, and you liked the way they interacted and worked together, and also like the best kind of ensemble, either workplace comedies or
Yeah.
situational comedies where they kind of come together and form like this family kind of unit. And that's probably what Firefly was. And it had this almost funky, because even the theme song had this kind of westerny vibe, and yet
I'm gonna
it
go back
was
and try to
set in
check that
space.
out. I mean, you had Nathan, you had Gina Torres, you had
Gina
Marina
Torres, that's who
Jackman,
I couldn't think of.
yeah, you had Alan Tudyk, you had Adam Baldwin, Nathan Fillion, Summer Glau. You had all these great actors in this, and you know, by all accounts, with those people in it, it should have made it.
It should, and you know what? And I think at the time it was a Fox series. So
Yes,
was it Fox or maybe it was the WB? Because I know at one point Buffy was on either UPN and then
it
it
was
went to
UPN.
and then it turned into the WB.
Maybe
And maybe they just didn't have enough, momentum to keep it
well
going, but
now.
it had
Wait,
a
hold.
cult following.
I'm going to hold on here for a minute because Nerd Affiliate just made a comment. Without Firefly, you don't get Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wow.
No,
I think so. Well,
no,
but no.
no, no, no. Guardians of the Galaxy is a property that was the Guardians' original. Okay, you're
But
gonna make
as
me
far
hot, man. I got nothing but love for you, but you're gonna make me hot. Guardians of the Galaxy is a comic book series that started in the late 70s. Okay. So the Guardians been around way before Firefly. The movies were put together by James Gunn. Josh Whedon had nothing to do with that.
we put a link if you want to join this stream and debate Kenny on this.
I don't
But
want to talk to you about it because there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to talk about. I'm
Because
going to move on with our list.
I think if you didn't have a Firefly, I don't think people would have been able to envision and accept Guardians of the Galaxy.
No,
I
no,
would give you that.
I refuse to accept that.
See, how can you even say that when you haven't seen the thing?
No,
I'm just
I
saying.
know. Look, I know what Marvel, the MCU is capable of. I know what James Gunn is capable of, and I know the idea and the concept of Guardians of the Galaxy were around way before. Way before.
All right.
So the next one we're going to go to, because I'm hot now. The
Well,
next
we're going to keep
one,
it on
the
the
next one season one I'm
spaceship.
going to go to. I didn't realize when I saw this on the list, I was kind of shocked.
I was
Battlestar
shocked
Galactica.
too. I thought
Battlestar
it
Galactica.
had a longer life, and I know it's had like it came back as Galactica.
Yes.
Like it's had many iterations. Maybe not as many as like a Star Trek, but and here's a question, Kenny: Star Trek or Star Wars?
That's a
It's
hard question. Depends on what you like. It depends on the universe that you like. They're both big
you were so
universes,
wishy-washy tonight.
and I'm going to lean towards, especially after seeing
One or
the
the
new
other.
after seeing the new Ahsoka show. I'm going to say Star Wars.
Oh wow!
One of my favorite sci-fi movies is Rogue One. Hands down, the best Star Wars
Yeah,
movie ever
you
made.
said
I
that.
told you that
You
before.
said that before. Hey,
So
an interesting question came up in the chat. Did Lenny and
I don't think they
Squiggy
did.
have a show?
I don't
I
think they
don't
did.
think they had a show.
I don't think they
I
had a
could be
show.
wrong. I mean,
I
I
don't.
I would probably have to ask Siri, because I don't think they got a spinoff.
I don't think they had a spinoff.
Because I know on a lot of shows, sometimes they try to spin off characters and give them like an episode to see if it flies. But I don't know whether they had a show.
Now
Um,
I'm gonna tell you one of my main things here. Battlestar
Although you
Galactica.
can't even say that. Oh, I'm sorry. I know we're talking Battlestar Galactica, but even if we say, because I kind of Googled it, and it looks like somebody's already tried to create it uh, with AI. So now, even if they never had a spinoff, who knows? We might get an AI version of chatbot coming up with the script and images for a Lenny and Squiggy spinoff. But go ahead.
Yes.
We're talking
No,
Battlestar
well, we're talking about
Galactica.
Battlestar Galactica,
And
and
for those of you
what
just joining us, I'm sorry, we're knee deep in the stream and I forgot to do a couple of our plugs, but we are talking one season wonders. It's Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture. Thank you so much for joining, hanging out with us. You can find us at kathyandkenny.com. And if you would so please hit that like button, join or subscribe to our YouTube channel. It supports the show and helps us out so much, and we appreciate you. Go ahead, Kenny.
Okay, well, real quick with Battlestar Galactica, Herbert Jefferson Jr., who played Lieutenant Boomer on Battlestar Galactica.
Mm.
This is the early 70s. You didn't see, even in the 70s, you saw black people on television. You didn't see a lot of black people on television. I
You
had the
didn't see black
opportunity,
people in space.
especially not in space. Especially not in space.
Where the black folk?
Yeah.
In space.
And like I think after Lieutenant Boomer, you didn't see a black person in space until Lando Calrissian showed up in Star Wars, So I had an opportunity in my 20s to meet Herbert Jefferson Jr., who played Lieutenant Boomer. And he was a very nice guy at a comic convention. I met him, and I said, I always did was shake his hand. I just want to thank you for being who you are, because there wasn't a lot of black people for me to look up to in sci-fi, and you were one of them, because I always waited to see what Boomer was going to do next. And he said, Thank you very much. I really appreciate that, man. I'm glad that, and he was very nice and very welcoming. So, yes. So that was my story about that. Moving on to the
That's
line, we have two
awesome.
more.
But before you go on, I just have to say, and I know there's not a lot of representation of people of color in sci-fi, but whenever we do talk about the subject, I got to give a shout out and let people know about Octavia Butler. If you don't know, you might have read Kindred in high school or college, and that's one of her most popular novels as far as literature classes goes, but her body of work is amazing. She died, I think, at like age 56, way too young. But Octavia Butler is a name that you want to write down somewhere and go look up some of her work because she's amazing. Parable of the Sower, Parable of the Talents. Okay, Adulthood Rights, just some amazing books. Lilith's Brood. Just check her out if you're into sci-fi literature. That is all, because
Okay.
Kenny, we have never done a show on literature, and that to me is a part of pop culture. So one of these days, we
We
gotta
have
do
to
a
do
book
it.
show.
You know who we're going to have on that? We're going to have George come on that.
Okay. All right.
He reads way more than I do.
Okay.
Uh, so we're coming down to our last two. First one of our last two is My So-Called Life in
Ah,
1994. Never
yeah.
seen this. Never seen this.
Oh my goodness. This show was so amazing. It had so much promise. The one actor, or actually the two actors you'll probably be most familiar with or recognize, because as adults they've gone on to do a lot of great work, and that is Claire Danes, who was a star, and Jared Leto. Is it Leto or Leto? I tend to pronounce it with a D, even though it's a T. Jared Leto, who I know is not one of your favorites because he did not do a Joker that you were
Which one?
particularly
That
fond
picture.
of.
Which one is Jared Leto?
He is the one in the plaid shirt, the little heartthrobby one.
Yeah, he sucks.
Oh no, are you kidding? When this came out, oh, he played Jordan. Oh my goodness. He was just adorable. How could you not love uh Jared Leto?
I guess I saw his Joker and it just
Yeah. And
wasn't funny.
Steve says he watched the show and had no idea um it was only one season, and there's been some controversy about why it was only one season. One thing that the show kind of revolved around was the one, um, uh, I can't even think of Claire Danes' character now, but Claire Danes, and it seems as though because of the success of the show that she was getting movie offers, and she would rather do that than the commitment of the TV series. So that's one of the reasons why Beth Armstrong, I think has come out and made some comments and said a few things, about it as far as them not going on or carrying on with the show. Another actor, Wilson Cruz, you might have seen him in other roles that stands out, but that it was such a good show. And the reason people know it is because it wound up being um, like, even though it didn't have the magic numbers for syndication, because I think you have to have like 33
Mhm.
um, episodes or some magic number. Maybe it's 50 episodes. I have no idea. I don't work in television. I just talk about it. But either VH1 or MTV, one of those two stations, which they're owned by the same company, picked it up and actually was showing it on in repeat. So it just wound up on this rotation. So people wound up seeing it and catching it. So even though it didn't meet the magic syndication numbers, it was still picked up and repeated. So people, became aware of it and watched it. But I just thought it had some great, just great performances from the actors who played the parents to the actors who played her friends, Wilson Cruz, AJ Langer, the other girl who played on the show. It it was great. It was just a great moment that really encapsulated again that whole coming of age in the early 90s. I thought it was amazing.
Last one on the list.
He's like, okay, I have nothing to say about that.
I really got. I've never seen the show. I got nothing.
Okay. Well, no, I
But the
get it.
next one I've never seen either, and
Mhm.
I'm going to see if I could try to catch it somewhere to watch it. But Freaks and Geeks.
I think I actually, uh, true story. I actually rented this at the library because at one point, and this was pre-pandemic, my library used to have like a really healthy collection of DVDs and TV shows and different things. And I remember renting this and watching this whole series. I think I've subsequently gotten a copy of the series, and I'm keeping the picture up for a minute because I just think it's notable that if you scan the actors that was in this series, like a lot of these folks today, I didn't realize that like the younger brother was on Bones because I was like, wait, that's the kid from Freaks and Geeks, Linda Cardinelli, uh, Seth. God, I can't think of
Seth
Seth's name. Seth
Seth Rogen,
Rogen,
James Franco,
James
Jason
Franco.
Segel.
Yes. So they had a lot of notable people in there. So many people came off that show. And again, only one season, but a really great season. But we're Kenny, we're in our like third or fourth season, but this is very exciting because joining us right now on the podcast, please welcome to the studio from Nerd Affiliated. Yeah. Hey, Archer is here
I'm
with
not
us.
clapping. I'm not clapping.
I know.
I know you came with some smoke.
Oh yeah. You think I was gonna come if I didn't have any smoke? You think I'm just gonna come with a dove leaf, whatever they carry in their
No,
mouths?
bring it on. Bring it. Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
But I am honored to have received an invite to be here. Thank you so much.
And that's only because I've actually gotten to be on the show, even though you had my brother on before me. But I'm not even going to go there. I'm gonna leave that over there.
I know
Wow.
I'm never gonna let that
Wow.
one down. I know.
Wow.
I've accepted that.
Wow.
It was my mistake. I'm sorry.
Is that a mistake?
That's the
Oh, wow.
mistake. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember why. I feel like you said you. I feel like we were best friends with the Die Hard take, and then you had another. Maybe it was not seeing Big Lebowski that set me off, where I was like, "Oh, I thought we were brothers," and now
That's right, Kenny. You still got to see the Big Lebowski.
crazy. I'm gonna watch it tonight because you haven't seen it. Such a good movie.
I'm not gonna watch it tonight.
Well, I had to defend myself on the Guardians of the Galaxy take.
Okay.
That's
Well,
why.
I want you to I want you to explain why you think this way so I could debunk every last piece of this malarkey.
I'm proud to. By the way, I missed one part. You guys were talking about Battlestar Galactica or Galactica. That was one season.
No, Battlestar Galactica.
Really, that was only one season. I did not know that.
Yes.
Interesting. All right. I used to love that as a kid. I used to have a Star Wars. By the way, I agree with you on Rogue One. I had a actually no, sorry. Empire is still number one, but Rogue One is like
Okay. Anyway, your
top
point
sci-fi.
is your point is
well, I had a Imperial shuttle, little like Hot Wheels toy as a kid, and I used to pretend that was the ship from Battlestar Galactica that they used to fly, like their fighter jet. As far as Guardians goes, I did not mean Guardians of the Galaxy as a whole wouldn't exist without Firefly. I mean that style of having a ragtag team with comedy in space exists because of Firefly. Firefly, I think up till that point, all sci-fi shows, and Sal's in the chat, he can verify, he could be the third party here. When it comes to sci-fi shows, everything was serious in the 70s and 80s. Very little humor. Star Wars had some humor. Star Trek had humor here and there. But Firefly, I think, had humor and another level of campiness that was different from the other shows. And I think that's what, yeah,
that's it. That's what Josh Whedon, I think, brings to it, which was why so many people hated his version of Justice League.
1000%.
Oh, his version of Justice League really sucked.
Yeah. He was also between a rock and a hard place on that one.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, they brought him in to Marvelize
I
DC
understand
at the last minute.
Marvelized, but did he have to cut out Ray Fisher's role totally?
No.
Yeah, because if you watch the Zack Snyder version, Ray Fisher's role was very like the basis of the whole movie.
Correct.
And one of the reasons I didn't watch The Flash until it came on Max. I wasn't paying money to see that. And when I watched The Flash, even though Ray Fisher wants nothing to do with that franchise at all, I don't like the way they totally. They didn't even show his character.
Right.
They mentioned him in the Flash movie. They didn't even show it. And this is all Josh Whedon telling a story that he wanted to tell. Now, I want to go back and I'm gonna put this out there. I'm gonna put this out there like this. Because anything Josh Whedon does, I'm looking back at it and I'm not a fan.
Hot take.
Because
very hot take, and
I believe Ray.
I'm a diehard Buffy fan.
No, I believe Ray Fisher's allegations on this. And we as people of color, did Josh Whedon really show people of color in his shows? Yet he had Ron Glass and Firefly. But what was his role?
Well, the girl was the captain, which Rebels copied, by the way. Rebels definitely copies Firefly. But
I look, I'm just telling you that
I'm sorry. I was reading Sal's hot take, which if you're listening on the podcast is here's my hot take. Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the best Star Wars movies we've gotten in the last 20 years.
Well, Guardians of the Galaxy 1 was okay. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I wasn't a big fan of.
Right.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is one of the best Marvel movies I've seen.
Yeah.
Really?
I would put Guardians of the Galaxy 3 next to Endgame easily.
I don't. I have so.
Come on.
Yeah. I have this new rule where I don't count Infinity War and Endgame towards anything because I think it's cheating because you had 10 years of story building to get to those two movies. But I put Guardians as a trilogy, debatable as the best trilogy in Marvel because Captain America Winter Soldier is the best Marvel movie they have ever done. And Civil War is pretty solid. Civil War is like right there. I think the Captain America trilogy is like 1A, 1B to Guardians because I think Guardians 1 and 3 are pretty strong.
The Guardians trilogy links up. The 1 and 2 was not as good as 3.
Correct.
So
but 1 changed the game.
Captain America, when you talk Captain America, all the movies in Captain America were all good movies.
1's okay.
All the Captain America movies I could watch again, whereas the Guardian movies, like number 2, I really don't have to see that again.
But the issue I have with Civil War is Captain America Civil War is really an Avengers movie. It's just called Captain America Civil War. But Iron Man's in it, Spider-Man premieres in it. So that's also kind of like cheating. So that's where I think Guardians...
It's centered around Captain America's character. It was a development story for Steve Rogers.
We could debate that one. We could debate that for a whole episode.
Civil War.
I don't think so.
So Winter's Captain America, Winter Soldier, Captain America, Civil War. They were all developmental stories for Steve Rogers, the Captain America legacy.
I only disagree because he didn't change in any movie. So that's where I don't think I can respectfully disagree. I don't think it's like not like Thor going from 1, 2 to 3. Thor and what happened with him in Infinity War. You could say Thor had like character arc. Tony Stark had character arc. Steve Rogers, he was kind of the same from the jump.
Yeah, he's it's almost like a friend of mine would describe the way my mic keeps going out. It's almost like the way a friend of mine would describe the way Sade sings. You love Sade, but basically she's got 2 notes, and that's kind of how.
Wow.
I love Sade. I was listening to.
I love Sade. I listen to Sade sometimes at night when I go to bed.
But that's how Captain America is, or that character is very two-dimensional. I mean, you're right. With Thor, you see an arc. With Iron Man, even you see how his character develops and how he grows, but you don't really see that with Captain America. You really
wait a minute. Let's not talk too fast. Because you do see a character change with Captain America. The first one, he changes into Captain America, so you see a change. The second one, he is experiencing a loss, and he sees his friend coming back.
Right.
And he's got to redeem his friend. In Civil War, he's got to prove that his friend, he's got to go against what he believes in. He's got to go against his own country.
Well, yes, I was going to say the only development Cap had was learning that the government's trash. That's it. Because he would have defended his friend when he didn't have powers. Like Steve Rogers, that was his whole thing. Like what was his thing? I can go. I can do this all day. I can go all day. I was going to say I didn't hear no bell, but that's Rocky. I can do this all day. That was him when he was scrawny, little, fighting like thugs in the street. So if Bucky was like, Cap, I need you, and Steve Rogers still had no powers, was working at Walmart, he would still show up to help Bucky, even though he had no shot. The dude jumped on a grenade in the first movie. Like there's not much growth that can happen if you're willing to jump on a grenade for no reason, because it's not like you're going to stop the grenade. But Iron Man,
in our comments, General Kenobi's bunker says Guardians 2 was saved by Yoda. Ha ha.
Yondu.
Rather.
Yep.
Ha ha.
That was the only interesting thing about it.
I don't think for Guardians of the Galaxy 2, nothing saved that for me. I've seen it once, and I probably seen it again when it came on Disney. I never really watched that again because it did nothing for me.
Yeah, you've seen it more than I have.
Worst story ever.
I will say, I mean, Michael Rooker, I think, does a phenomenal job. So I see where he's going with that. Yes.
Salvatore Mazzaro says how Gina Torres' career took off, and she's in a ton of different things. She does a lot of voice acting too, Gina Torres.
Yeah, so. Like again, a lot of people probably recognize her or remember her from Suits, but
I've never seen Suits. Is that good?
I remembered her not. It used to be, but then it got into this thing where they had to have a curse word every episode, and it just kind of deteriorated. But in any case, but Gina Torres, I think, first came into the Buffy verse through I think it was Angel, an episode of Angel. But she was a regular on Firefly, but she is awesome. She was married to, was it Paul Michael Duncan? I believe, or was it Lawrence Fishburne? I don't know. And I don't have Ed here to tell me in the comments what it was. But I had General Kirby's bunker up because he loves Buffy. And again, I know all the issues with Josh Whedon and whatever. But again, I can't cancel him totally, because I am a diehard Buffy fan and I'm not giving it up.
So here's what I need to do.
I also like Angel, and I know you don't like Angel either. So
yeah, here's what I need to do. I need to watch Firefly.
Yes.
And find out, because I've never seen it. But my whole thing is that the Guardians of the Galaxy was a property before Firefly.
Oh yeah, but
Before
that
the
wasn't that.
movies.
No, but
And,
that wasn't
and the
my.
comic books was a property where you had this ragtag team
Mhm.
of people who were fighting together. And okay,
But
so I can see
I think his point
I can
was
see Firefly on Hulu.
I
So
think
I'm gonna check out Firefly on Hulu, and Gina
he
Torres
does.
and Matt Fillion is in the picture on Hulu, and she is just so smoking.
But here's Kenny, and here's what I think you were missing. Like the whole idea of a, like he said, ragtag group kind of going through space, that whole
Dysfunctional
Guardians of
family. You mean?
of the Galaxy probably wouldn't have been as accepted on camera. Point being, Cowboys and Aliens. Anybody remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie.
Of
I don't
course
know
you
why
do.
that was a flop. I love that movie.
But in any case, it probably wouldn't have been welcomed or accepted by the masses had it not been for a series like Firefly that came
Yep.
along and became a bit of a cult classic. And I think,
Yes.
like, even with the last three or four shows that we talked about, Firefly, Battlestar Galactica, My So-Called Life, Freaks and Geeks, even though they only had one season, they were those shows that developed a cult following because
Mhm.
Yes,
in that one season,
in the
it
nerd
had
in the nerd community, people still talking about Firefly.
Yep.
oh,
Most
definitely.
definitely.
And the other part too, like Guardians going, in the comics, in the cartoons, even, they're just like straight up police. Like they got uniforms. They're all very straight edge. They're
Well,
all
wait a
very
minute.
like.
Slow down. The original Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't like that.
It was like how
You
we see it
talking the
now.
current cartoon or the
No, I'm talking about the original comic book of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
There were a bunch of last survivors of their race
Right.
that were thrown together,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't the current lineup that you
yeah,
have.
in there?
It wasn't the
Terrible.
current lineup that you have. And
Mhm.
then those people that showed up in that current lineup, they showed up in the movie
Mhm.
as big characters.
Mhm.
But overall, the current lineup you have with Rocket, that wasn't the original lineup of Guardians of the Galaxy. The original lineup of Guardians of the Galaxy was supposed to be way in the future. And
Mhm.
they came back in the past and joined the Avengers and had an adventure with the Avengers and then went back to the future. And then you had a comic book about them, and they were like 1,000 years in the future,
Mhm.
where the only people still alive from our time was Wonder Man
Mhm.
because he was made of ionic energy.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
in the
you're
event,
you're digging too deep into.
I'm getting too deep. I'm going too deep because I know too much. I'm sorry. It's not my fault. I'm Sheldon when it comes to comic
But
books.
but I
Okay,
think the
so
mixture of the
I mean,
humor
the Guardians of
with
the Galaxy is a ragtag.
yeah, but they're not. But they weren't. It wasn't to that extent of like a Firefly. I don't think. And that's my point is how
I
James
see what
Gunn
you're
did
saying.
it is James Gunn also is not the most original person, which people don't really, I think, say out loud a lot. But I think his style in that movie very much rides off of a Firefly. I mean, he's like BFFs with Nathan Fillion. Like he's in all his shit. Sorry,
Salvatore,
pardon my
I
French.
think.
Speaking of
I'm
which, that's
sorry.
right.
I'm
He
sorry.
wasn't.
Salvatore, I think I might have to check that out. I think you might be right that Firefly came before Peter Quill. Peter Quill was not an original member of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And when Peter Quill first showed up in comic book, he was very militant.
Yeah.
He wasn't the Peter Quill that you see in the movies.
He's
wasn't
very
the
much Nathan Fillion's
Oh,
character.
definitely in
He's that
Firefly.
type of person. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Kitty, you're not armed with all the information, so you got to go back and watch Firefly.
Yeah.
And
I just don't want to look, man. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to give Josh Whedon credit for anything. Okay.
But
I'm
you
just
know what?
saying.
Take the Josh Whedon out of it and just watch the thing. And if
Well, the
you
first
can't,
look,
and
one of-
make
one
sure
of
you're
first-
watching the TV series, because there's also a movie called
Serenity.
Serenity.
Okay, but see, here's my thing. When I started collecting comic books at 10 years old, one of the first two of the first group comics, team comics that I collected was Justice League and the
Mhm.
Avengers.
Mhm.
And I love the Justice League way back when they were on a satellite over the sky. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
It was, over the sky and everything. And it was the Justice League. And it was before they disbanded and became Justice League Detroit. And you had these single episodes and everything. I love the Justice League.
Mhm.
And Josh Whedon messed that Justice League up like my grandmother showing up in the middle of a wet dream. I'm just saying.
Hey. I
Ouch.
again, I don't fault him for that one because he, similar to I don't fault Ron Howard for Solo being a crappy movie. Both of those directors showed up and most of the production was already underway or done. And they were brought in to re-edit and reshoot stuff to give us the movies
I
we
didn't
got.
know. I didn't know Ron Howard reshot Solo.
Yep. They
I
fired
don't know, 'cause Solo,
whoever was doing it.
Solo deeply sucked.
Let me make
Solo
sure
was
I'm not
such a
talking out of my
disappointment.
butt. Solo director Ron Howard. Yeah.
So
He was
Solo
brought in
Solo was such a
like,
disappointment.
because what's his face? The guy from The Wire who died like 2 years ago. What's his name? He had the scar across his face.
I know you're talking about.
He was the villain
Mhm.
in the movie. He played whoever the bad guy was. Sorry, Kathy, what were you saying?
No, I knew you were talking about. I couldn't think of the guy's name.
Michael.
Yeah, it was Michael something, but I can't.
Michael
ahead.
something. I know you're talking
Well,
about. But go ahead.
So he was the actor playing the bad guy in Solo. And by the time they fired the director, because that's what Kennedy does, she fires people when they're not doing the movie she wants them to do. Ron Howard comes in.
Michael Williams.
There you go, Michael Williams. So they fire them and then bring in Ron Howard, and they're like, you have to change this movie up to what we want, lighten this movie up. So they have to do a bunch of reshoots, and they're doing so many reshoots. They're like, all right, dude, come back to redo the movie. He's like, I can't. I already did my shit. I'm about to do something else. And that's when they brought in that other guy to play the bad guy in the movie because he wasn't available. Same thing happens in Justice League. Snyder's doing Justice League. His daughter sadly self-deleted herself. And he's like, I need to take time away to be with my family. DC's like, cool story, bro. This needs to keep going. We're also doing very badly now versus Marvel. Let's get somebody from Marvel to do our Justice League movie and get it to be like Adventures. So that's why he comes over, does his thing. We all hate it. And then when the Snyder cut comes out, there's some reshoots, but a lot of that stuff is original footage because he had already shot it. But what's his face had to come in, Whedon, and re-edit, recolor a whole bunch of that stuff.
Yeah, but why did he cut out Ray Fisher?
I mean, personally, I think he could have cut anybody, but at the time, if you put that lineup on screen, he was the weaker star of all of them. Not in acting ability, but like people
In
didn't
name recognition.
And he put out a 90-ish minute superhero movie, which we had not gotten in quite a while. Right. So that movie's very bam, boom, we're out of here. That's why people hate it. Personally, I actually really enjoyed it when I first saw it because it was so campy also in a way. I felt like I was watching a live action version of the cartoon. Cartoon's far superior. I'm not saying it's same quality, but I felt like I was watching like a cartoon.
The Justice League Unlimited cartoon or the Justice League cartoon, both of them are far superior to the live action.
Everything. Far superior to everything.
In either way that you'll get. However, And now Salvatore says something here. I blame Josh Whedon for Age of Ultron before I blame him for Justice League.
1,000%, because he did all of Age of
I
Ultron.
liked Age of Ultron.
There wasn't an age. It was like a week. Hit the button.
But it was still Age. I mean, the name. Wow. What you gonna get that technical on me?
I saw it in. It's not even mine. I stole that from somebody else. Somebody else made that.
Yeah, but Age of the movie Age of Ultron.
Yeah,
was a good movie. The only thing I didn't like about it as a true diehard comic book fan is that Hank Pym did not create Ultron.
correct.
That's the only thing I didn't like about the movie.
Yeah.
However, because of the way the Marvel MCU was working, Tony Stark creating Ultron made sense.
Agreed.
I liked Age of Ultron though. I liked the way it went. I didn't like the way they killed
exactly
Quicksilver
like
because I think that was BS. The way they killed Quicksilver.
Agreed.
But other than that, I liked Age of Ultron.
I thought you were going to say something, Kathy, so I was pausing.
No.
It's Age of Ultron is my Clone Wars of the prequels. I saw it once, and that's all I need.
Now Salvatore put in the comments that they
Sal
made Ultron a chump. I don't
did.
think they made Ultron a chump in that movie.
They did.
I think he was a valuable threat.
Ultron in the What If series is a threat. Ultron in that movie, I mean, they bounced back. The fact that Tony was able to make a whole new AI off of Jarvis, create Vision. It was so easy that I was like, was Ultron even that serious? You know, like he did some stuff, but between that, you bring in Vision and Wanda, and you don't even make them mutants. You try to make this whole other thing. It was just sloppy. It was a very sloppy Marvel stench all over it movie.
And again, as someone without the background in the comic books, I found that particular movie a little harder to follow.
There you go.
Than
Really
an Endgame or a Civil War or any of the other.
Yeah.
I really struggled with Age of Ultron.
And that's what Disney.
Not gonna lie. And one thing, I actually went back and watched it after. I had to watch it again because I got so vested in WandaVision, which I absolutely loved.
Yes.
And I needed that backstory.
Yep.
And I still felt like there were gaps.
Oh, 1,000%. I have my coworker now she's turned into a Marvel girl. She's watching everything because her boyfriend was watching WandaVision. She loved it. She also saw Spider-Man, fell in love with Tom Holland, and I was like, oh, now I'm going to watch everything. And WandaVision is another level. Like, I don't know what drugs they were on that made them write such a good story, because everything else that's been coming out of Marvel and Disney has been like Loki, also amazing. But
I'm looking forward to Loki season 2.
Right.
Hopefully,
I
have to up with season 2.
Yeah, I have not invested the time in Loki, and again, I was on such a high with WandaVision.
Right.
I don't want to be let down.
Exactly.
No, well, with Loki, with the first season of Loki, you will not be let down.
But here's the problem. Here's why you will be let down.
Okay.
WandaVision sets up a story thread of, what she's doing in, I don't want to say too much and ruin it, but it says she's doing stuff, right? Something happens in WandaVision. When you watch Loki, there's a certain part in Loki where an event happens and it is tied to what happens in WandaVision. And you're like, oh, wow, like this show is potentially changing how the MCU will go forward. They decide they're going to do Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. They decide they're going to do Spider-Man No Way Home. And they take both those writing teams and say, write me a multiverse movie. Don't talk to each other. So when you watch Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, the way the multiverse exists in that movie is not following anything set up by WandaVision and Loki. When you watch Spider-Man No Way Home, that multiverse stuff isn't even tied to Doctor Strange, and he's in both those movies. It's a
Yeah.
whole different thing.
Yeah,
And
you're right.
they-
You're right.
they-
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
So that's where I'm like, it's a cool story. Like
But it
both
gets out
WandaVision and Loki, they do go to like some cool places as far as like storyline. I have no idea how they plan to do Loki season 2 and what they're going to tie it to.
I
And
want to ask you
isn't there
something.
another series supposed to be coming out with the witch Agatha?
Yeah, Agatha, a series that nobody cares about.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
And the-
wait a
and the-
minute. Slow
Catherine
down.
Hahn.
Slow down.
I'm like a
Oh,
Catherine
yeah.
Hahn
Slow
fan.
down.
But she
I
was the
remember-
bad guy,
look,
and
I
now she's going to be a
remember-
good
I
guy in a
remember
show.
reading
My only thing, I hope this is where you're going to go.
reading Agatha Harkness
Yep.
and the Fantastic Four.
Exactly where I was going to say.
I remember
That's the only
reading
thing I
Agatha
need out of that
Harkness
show.
way back in the 70s and the Fantastic Four.
Literally the only thing that show better do. That show better.
But I mean,
introduce-
I'm looking forward
Fantastic
to it,
Four.
Agatha. Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to introducing Fantastic Four. I think the problem with Marvel right now is that I think they got a little cocky
1000%.
with what they put out
Disney
because
got
they know
cocky.
we're going to watch.
Oh
And
yeah.
now they're
Well, they
starting
know
to get
I'm
like
gonna buy it.
DC because right now my son George, he will not go to a DC movie until James Gunn takes over because he's tired of giving his money to DC. I went to go see Blue Beetle in the theater and I loved it.
I heard it's good. Yeah.
It's really good. But
Watch yourself, Kenny. No spoilers.
yeah, but my son will not
But
see
you
the
hated
DC
the
movie.
Flash, and I
Now,
enjoyed the
Marvel-
Flash.
I love the Flash.
The Flash was trash.
I love the
Flash-
Flash,
It was
and I
pure
want to
trash.
see. I want to see the Nick Cage Superman movie.
No, you do not want to see. Because look,
I
Yes.
was
the Nick
tripping
Cage
out.
Superman movie was based off of a 90s Superman who came back from the dead with long hair.
The mullet. Long live the
Yeah,
mullet.
the mullet.
Hey.
Yes. No, we
Love
don't want to
the
see that.
mullet.
We do
Yes,
not
you
want to
do.
see that.
I want,
You
We
do.
I
do
want
not
that
want to.
Nick
No,
Cage
we do not want to see that.
with the red eyes. Come on.
Archie, would you
These-
explain to her that we do not want to see that?
These companies are so trash that you'll have a movie like Iron Man come out and they let a director do whatever they want in Jon Favreau and then say, you know what? I love what you did. People love the movie. It made us all the money. We'll take it from here. And they F it up. They F it up every time.
Yes.
I think of the original Batman 89 movie comes out. They didn't have high hopes for it. Kills it. They say,
Yes.
hey, don't make it so dark. We can't sell toys on it. They do the
Mhm.
second movie. They go, you know what, Tim Burton? Cool story, bro. We'll take it from here. We got what we got. It happens all the time.
Yes.
And DC, they as much as I hate Man of Steel, people liked it. Sal loves
I
it.
hated
My group
Man of
chat
Steel.
loves it.
Man of Steel
I
was the
hate
worst
Man of Steel.
representation of Superman you ever want to see.
I hate it. But you know what?
hate it.
They went from there. They decided that they were going to do their own thing. They were going to control whatever happens, and we keep getting trash after trash.
Well, my son told me an interesting fact
Mhm.
about, and this is what I'm talking. This is what kind of analyze what you're talking about. The Ninja Turtle movies.
Oh, pff,
Now, the first Ninja Turtle movies that came out in 1990,
89.
That's the first
90.
one?
Yep.
yeah,
90.
that came out, and it was a great movie.
The best movie
The
ever.
second
made.
one came out, Secret of the Ooze, because so many parents complained
Yep.
about the Ninja
violence.
Turtles not being like the cartoons that they saw on Saturday mornings.
Yep.
Where they were all joking and funny. And in
Yep.
the first one, they were actually using their weapons.
It was too
and
dark.
things it was too dark for them. So the second one, Secret of the Ooze, now you got Ice Cube. No,
Ice tea.
Ice Tea.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Not Ice
Vanilla,
Tea.
vanilla ice.
Vanilla Ice. Now you got Vanilla Ice dancing around saying, "Go Ninja, go Ninja, go." And you have the Ninja Turtles not actually using their weapons.
The only one that used it was Donatello.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Ninja Turtles, and he uses a stick. They're not actually using their weapons
Nope.
on the villains at all.
Yep.
Because the parents complained about how dark the first one because they wanted to see what they saw on Saturday morning cartoons.
But it's amazing.
Saturday morning cartoons, you can sell that in a Happy Meal.
But
Yes.
and that's the
But the
thing.
Ninja Turtles, actual Ninja Turtles,
Yeah.
originally was made in a comic book that was not in color but in black and white and was
And
very
super
dark.
violent. Super violent. Shredder
Yes.
dies in the first issue or first
Yes.
story arc.
Yes.
To Sal's question there, I love the Flash, so I will say that. But no, I mean, it's I have like this running list. Batman '89, Turtles 1990, Iron Man, movies that the studios didn't care about, and great teams, great artists, great martial artists, great people, great composers made these fantastic movies that nobody believed in, and because it made money, the studio goes, cool, go take a hike. We'll take it from here. And it pisses me off every single time. And DC right now, until James Gunn killed it with Peacemaker, I think that, again, not very original, but was a great show. If they let him keep calling the shots, let's see how it goes. But I want to see if he could do something that's not comedic and have some serious points, some comedy points.
It's like my son says, he's not going to go back to paying ticket fare for the movies for the DC universe until James Gunn comes out with his Superman legacy, because that's going to be the first James Gunn
Start to
movie.
finish.
Yeah, start to finish. And I'm very curious about what James Gunn is going to do with the Brave and the Bold, the Batman series, and he's going to get as the Batman. I think he might, in the running, I think a lot of people want to see the young man from what's that TV, Supernatural, who played on The Boys.
Well, let's fire Pattinson. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well,
I was watching that today, actually.
Well, what they're saying now is Pattinson is going to be in a elsewhere universe.
Yeah. Well,
So just like the Joker, the Joker
Phoenix
movies and the Pattinson movies are in the Elseworld universe,
Yep.
which I think you really don't need, because you're making it too confusing for the average person.
Yeah,
that's true.
Well, so I think they're doing a wrong move there. They need to do what Marvel did and just put everything together in one nice package for people who don't collect, for people who don't read the books. You just put everything together in a nice package. So I don't think that's a smart idea at all. I think Marvel is at a point where they're getting too cocky. Everything we put out, we know you're going to come and see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I am going to go see the Marvels movie. My son really doesn't want to go see it. Me and George, my son's 31. We've been seeing the Marvel movies together since they first came out.
Mm-hmm.
We've been seeing movies together since he was a kid. So
have fun.
I'm going to see the Marvel movie because I'm a Photon fan. And I remember when she was Captain Marvel, when she first came out, and I'm going to say, was that the Spider-Man annual number 10? When she first came out, I had that book, and I collected that book when she first got her powers and her costume and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a big fan of Monica Rambeau.
Mm-hmm.
The fact they tied her into Captain Marvel, I like that. And I want to see what they do with her. I am waiting patiently for them to bring Blue Marvel to the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I am now in an active campaign to collect the Ultimate Series with Blue Marvel and Photon all through. And I hear it's a very expensive campaign I'm in, because the original Blue Marvel books, and Kathy, you know who I'm talking about, but I'm sure Hey Archer does. The Blue Marvel books, that first limited series, sells for at least $600.
Pass.
I have that series.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
So I'm excited about that. But in any event, I'm waiting for them to bring Blue Marvel. I'm so waiting for them to bring Blue Marvel to the MCU that a year or two ago, I found a Blue Marvel action figure on sale for $10, and I scooped it up and did not take it out the box because I'm imagining that eventually it'll be worth money when they bring them to the MCU. You don't
won't.
think so?
No,
You don't think so?
no. I know exactly what figure you bought. It's yeah, ain't gonna happen.
You don't think that's going to be worth anything when they bring him out?
You underestimate the power of people's hatred for Brie Larson.
Well, Blue Marvel is not connected to Brie Larson.
He's gonna be introduced in the same movie.
Oh, they're going to introduce Blue Marvel in that movie, The Marvels?
Mhm.
Oh.
Sorry, spoiler.
See, you just messed me up because that changes everything.
I know.
You know that changes everything, right?
That movie only does well.
Blue Marvel is an exceptional character.
But that movie will only do well if a spoiler gets leaked that Rogue shows up and takes Captain Marvel's powers. And that is the introduction of the X-Men in the actual timeline for Marvel.
Are they going to do that in that movie?
If that does not happen, that movie's going to bomb. And they're going to say, yeah, exactly. They're going to say that the fans bombed it and that the strike is the reason it failed. When Oppenheimer, Turtles, Barbie will all prove otherwise. So,
are you sure? Is your intel correct that Blue Marvel is going to be in the Marvels movie?
I'll Google it right now.
Because I'm not. I didn't hear that. Are they just introduced the dude, the character, the dude? Because I haven't seen him in any. And that's the action figure I have, I think, right there.
Yeah. Rumor, yeah. One person says, I'm not expecting it, but I'm hoping to see it. Another person says he's set to appear in the Marvels.
It would make sense because his name is Blue Marvel. It would make sense. But he is a character, Kathy. He's a character that is probably stronger than Thor and the Hulk.
But he's not stronger than Captain Marvel. She's a god.
He's not stronger than Captain Marvel?
They literally made her invincible in every movie.
I would have to read the Ultimate storyline to see if she's.
Oh no, I'm not saying comic books. I'm saying in the MCU.
MCU. They didn't make her totally invincible. I mean, they made her capable of going one-on-one with Thanos.
He socked her in the face, and she didn't even blink.
I know.
Guys, we got to reel it in because we are almost 40 minutes outside of our time.
Okay. Well,
because we have to edit down because this episode of Kathy Can Explain,
we're going to take the last 40 minutes and make it an own separate thing.
Okay.
That's what we're going to do.
All right. That'll
take the last 40 minutes. We'll cut that out. Take the last 40 minutes of Hey Archer coming into us and talking with us and make that a whole separate, because it's a very interesting conversation. And he didn't really. I'm going to watch Firefly.
Watch The Big Lebowski
now,
first.
Thursdays, I know you do your.
There you go. Wait, did you hear that, Kenny? He said, watch The Big Lebowski first.
Watch The Big Lebowski first.
Actually, watch something that we're telling you was good.
The only thing I'm doing this weekend is tomorrow morning. We're taking my grandson to see the Ninja Turtle movie. We're taking him to his first movie theater.
Nice. That was my first movie.
See Ninja Turtles. Me, my son, and my daughter-in-law were taking him, and we got somebody to watch the baby. And then Monday night, I'm doing my poetry podcast, the Words Out podcast, on poetry on Monday night. But between there, I'm free unless Janet Jackson calls me. Or Whoopi
that's
Goldberg.
not happening. So you can watch The Big Lebowski.
Or Ellen DeGeneres or Rosie O'Donnell.
Okay.
Or
none of those
Susan,
lesbians are going to call you. So you
Or
can
Sarah
watch
Bernhardt.
The Big
Sandra
Lebowski.
Bernhardt, rather. Or Sandra
Okay.
Bernhardt, call me.
None of your lesbian crushes are calling. Watch
Okay.
The Big Lebowski. Just saying.
Okay. I'm just saying they could. They might see this podcast and say, you know what? That's a good looking guy. Let me call him up.
I don't think I've
Oh,
ever
prayer, Kitty,
heard
prayer.
anybody name drop Ellen or Rosie O'Donnell as call me to change my life for the better.
Or Sandra Bernhardt.
Okay, but as we wrap up, as Sal is saying, we got to spend a little time with Hey Archer from Nerd Affiliated. I dropped the link earlier for that YouTube
Now,
channel.
I want to
Kenny.
say this to you, Kathy. I'm sorry.
Me.
Usually on Thursday night,
I love you.
I can't go to Hey Archer's podcast because I'm hosting usually. I'm
Mhm.
hosting different open mics on Thursday nights here in the South Jersey area. But we are going to continue this conversation probably on our show with Hey Archer after I watch Firefly.
And the
I'm
Big
going to come
Lebowski.
back as a
You have
guest.
you have a whole set list to watch. But as Kenny alluded to, you can check out Hey Archer on Thursday night. Thanks so much for hopping on with us. And again, giving Kenny the business, and hopefully he will.
No, you really didn't give me the business because I'm really not seeing
Oh
it.
my God, he just doesn't stop.
I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. But I'm going to watch Firefly, and maybe I'll see it. But I don't think I will. But go ahead.
All right, I can't do anything.
It's
You need to be
poppycock.
careful. Oh, I
It's
love this.
poppycock.
You need to be careful in South Jersey. If you go too far, you start running into Eagles fans. Oh, yikes. Because, yes, I'm in the North Carolina. Kenny's in the South Jersey. So that is a possibility. But we thank you guys so much for being with us on Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture. Thank you again to Hey Archer from Nerd Affiliate joining us tonight. We will be back next Saturday with some pop culture news with another topic. Who knows? We might even be talking all about the Big Lebowski if Kenny watches it. If that's the case, we will see you guys next Saturday night. Peace.
God bless your soul and keep living. Peace.
Thank you for geeking out with Kathy and Kenny on Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture.